Okay. What else would you like to tell the voters before we wrap up?
Well, I'm a Scorpio and I like long walks on the beach.
I am here with John Robinson, who is a member of the school board running for re-election. John has served 3 years on the school board, 1 year as a budget committee member, and filled an unexpired term as a state representative. We're going to talk to John about the school board and why he's running for re-election.
Well, I think primarily because we have a number of things going on in the district that I'd like to continue working on for the next few years. We've been managing the district's enrollment down and managing the size of the school down, the size of the district down. In step with that, we've seen a reduction in enrollment that kind of bubbles through like a bubble. It started in the elementary grades and we lost teachers there, then it moved to the middle school and we reduced teachers there. And that's going to continue for a few years. At the same time, there's the challenge of trying to provide the quality of education that the voters have supported in election after election, while at the same time managing down the head count to the extent that we can, managing the total cost, and engaging with the state on the continuing issues of unfunded mandates and adequacy for education and redefinitions of adequacy, things such as that. Just would like to see the process through.
Okay. Who are you working for when you're on the school board?
Way back when I was in graduate school for my master's in management, one of the flavors of the week in management was stakeholder theory. You take an organization and you look at everybody who has an interest in what you're doing, in the organization's survival and growth and productivity. And in the school district, I think it boils down to 3 groups. There's the students, there's the parents and taxpayers, and there are the employees. My primary interest, my first allegiance, is to the students. I think that our job as a board is to give them the best educational opportunity that we can, based on the level of funding that the town's able to provide and willing to provide. After that, I think, comes the parents and taxpayers, which you try to talk about as one single group, but often they're not. There are parents and there are other taxpayers who might not have kids in the school district anymore. And there are the employees, but clearly the first group that you look for protecting and helping is the students, and you do it at the level that the taxpayers will support. At the same time, making sure you remain the kind of employer that can attract excellent people and reward them fairly for the work that they do.
During the past 3 years, what have you accomplished as a school board member?
We have continued the trend that's been going on for a number of years of bringing down the cost of education in terms of year upon year budgets. As you know, we have this measure that's called a default budget that would be the spending from last year increased by contractual obligations, things that voters approved, like salaries for unions, negotiations, things like that, and removing any one-time expenses. And each of the years I've been on the board, and for years before that, we've managed to present a recommended budget that's significantly less than the default budget, meaning that the spending, if left alone, would have been higher than we've been able to manage it down. Some of that's been the enrollment. Some of this has gone on at the same time that we've had the improvements at the high school in North and South. And a lot of it's been through energy saving initiatives, similar initiatives that the administration has put in place. So I think the thing that we are doing the best is providing as good or better an education year after year at a cost that in terms of adjustment for inflation and cost of living is in fact going down.
Okay. So what you said was, if the budget is voted down, the people vote the budget down in March, you will automatically have the default budget?
Yeah, the way the balloting works is there's a choice between the school board recommended budget and the default budget. Before I should actually correct that. The school board recommended budget is actually what comes out of the deliberative session. Mm-hmm. So if voters show up at the deliberative session and amend the budget up or down, that's what goes to the ballot. And the choice is between that or the default budget. The original idea was that the default budget would be what was used to rein in an out-of-control school board or two powerful unions or something like that, where the voters could say, hey, no, we're not going with this radical spending plan. We're going to just take what we did last year and move forward another year based on our legal obligations there and think about it again the year after. And that works in a lot of places. In Londonderry, it just turns out that we find a way to recommend we spend less than the default budget year after year.
Good. Okay. Are there any contracts up this year?
Well, the custodians and the allied or the support staff are going to be on the ballot this year. And we have negotiated some really positive things with both of them. Example, the custodian union is working on a cost of living increase that's based on the actual rate of increase in the Boston economic market. That is not an evergreen contract. That doesn't mean that there are steps that they proceed to if they don't get a contract next year. They have been really cooperative and really flexible in terms of negotiating a contract with us, and hopefully that will carry on into next year. Next year, I believe the teachers' contract is up. And I should say that the teachers' union has also been really helpful. They gave back in the neighborhood of $125,000 in costs and benefits that they could have received under the contract in order to help us meet our cost-cutting goals this year.
Is that a first?
It's the first that I'm aware of. It may have happened before I was on the board or involved locally, but it's the first that I've been a part of.
Good. Tell us about the budget. It's been, I don't want to say slash, but you've done a really good job at lowering, you and Mr. Greenberg. So tell me a little bit about what's going on and how you feel about the cuts that have been proposed.
The budget that's been proposed for the coming year is $63,763,100. And that compares to the actual budget for the 2010-2011 fiscal year of $63,862,247. So that's a reduction of roughly $100,000. And that was achieved by consolidating a number of positions, taking responsibilities out of individual positions like counselors in some of the schools. It's been achieved by continuing to reduce headcount where we can because of fewer people in classrooms. Some of the number that has actually come off of our budget has gone into teachers that are growing, teachers that will be funded next year under the federal ARRA grant, the stimulus program. And these are positions that we expect to be losing through reductions in headcount due to decreasing enrollment in the year that follows. So effectively, we've been able to take them off of our dime a year early and still have the benefit of having them while the classroom population continues to require it. And of course, we've made some fairly serious cuts in the number of aides in classrooms, which is a sad thing to see happening. To one degree, it feels like we're making cuts by taking jobs away from our own neighbors. On the other hand, when the superintendent of schools and the administration and the principals are telling you that of all the choices we have to make, these are the ones that we can make and have the least impact on the children, on the programs that we're providing, then you give that a certain amount of credence.
Tell me why I should vote for you.
I think that the voters believe that the school is by and large delivering an excellent value on the money that they are investing in it, the money that they are paying for it. And I am committed to working with the team that we have to continue to provide the best education that we can at the most reasonable cost that we can. If you look at the world today, obviously education is the silver bullet to so many issues that we're facing. National competitiveness, improving our own economy going forward, the ability to maintain American influence and power and standard of living. It all comes back to the ability of students to compete and produce on a global stage. And that comes back to education, and that is what I'm trying to support.
Good. Okay. What would you say to the person that came up to you and said, the school budget is forcing me out of town. Why can't you be more like the town?
I think I'd say that I understand what you're saying. Could you please help us understand what you'd like to see us reduce? Where are the trade-offs that you'd like to see made? Can I help you understand what our costs are going to? And once you do that, can you tell me which people, which programs, which courses you'd like to see impacted or you'd be willing to see impacted to reduce the tax rate? It's the belief of those of us on the board that people, by large measure, are supporting the degree of programs and services that we have. But if that's incorrect, if there are areas that people specifically want to talk about, let's talk about them.
Okay, good. Now tell us about you. Tell us about John Robinson. Family, education,
Okay.
Your new look.
The new look. Well, the hair went away at the beautiful Lance event at the high school. I've always had hair that was kind of long, and back around the beginning of the summer, I guess it was, I decided to just let it grow out and get long enough to donate, just as a show of support for all the students who make that dramatic step every year. In terms of me, I've lived in Londonderry since 1997, I guess. I was born in New Hampshire, went to college in Boston, bachelor's degree from Boston University in psychology, a master's from Emerson in mass communication, and a master's in management from University of Maryland University College.
Good. Something that I just recall reading recently is that there's a House bill that wants to give parents $3,500 for education. There's controversy as to whether or not it will include homeschoolers. Do you think that that would be an issue in the district?
Well, according to the article I read that quoted the House leadership, they apparently don't want to apply that to homeschoolers. What they want to do is make it an option for parents to have kids sent to schools other than their home community or private or parochial schools. Would it be an issue in Londonderry? I suppose that there are probably a number of students in Londonderry who attend a place like Derryfield or Victory. I went to private high schools myself. Whether public money should be spent on private education, I'm not sure. I don't think that there is much that you can get in a private school that you can't get in Londonderry. I frequently say that I wish I had gone to a high school anywhere near as great as Londonderry's. I mean, my high school didn't send the band to the Rose Bowl parade or the Winter Olympics or I'm sorry, Summer Olympics or something like that. Presidential inaugural. Would it be an issue if parents have that option to do it? I think there will probably be some money flowing from Londonderry School District to other towns. We'll find a way to adapt, and we will continue to make Londonderry the kind of school that you wouldn't want to leave.
Tell us what experience you have that makes you the right choice for the school board.
Boy. Well, I've been involved in the town for a number of years, starting when we started building the school district radio station as a community service project. I was a reporter in town, I was a state rep, I was on the budget committee, I've been on the school board for 3 years. I've been working in the schools. I have actually taught enrichment clusters in the schools. I've been involved to a limited degree with programs like Friends of Music. I've been involved in helping students put radio and TV productions of sports and similar things on the air. I think that I have a fairly good sense of the town. I think that I'm fairly well known, and well, maybe not without the hair, but hopefully people are getting accustomed to it. People still walk up to me and say, I didn't recognize you, and I kind of tell them it's really me, just, less. And I think I'm accessible and known enough that people are comfortable with me, and I think that people trust that I do represent the interest of their kids and their pocketbooks pretty well.
Good, good. What else would you like to tell the voters before we wrap up?
I just hope that what we've been experiencing this year in terms of the quorum and the deliberative session and the discussion and, dare I say, controversy surrounding that demonstrates again to the people that the district doesn't belong to the school board. The school board belongs to the district. We're not writing your budget. We're writing the budget that we hope that matches your desires and your interests, and we're presenting it to you for your approval. And we're always listening. We're always looking for more ways to get more people involved in the process and get more community input and more voices, because the more that happens, the more the outcome reflects what the people actually want, and that's my goal.
Good, good, good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think this was informative to the voters, and I wish you good luck.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Tell me why I should vote for you.
Because we have your puppy.